الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار والفلك التي تجري في البحر بما ينفع الناس وما أنزل الله من السماء من ماء فأحيا به الأرض بعد موتها وبث فيها من كل دابة وتصريف الرياح والسحاب المسخر بين السماء والأرض لآيات لقوم يعقلون ومن الناس من يتخذ من دون الله أندادا يحبونهم كحب الله والذين آمنوا أشد حبا لله ولو يرى الذين ظلموا إذ يرون العذاب أن القوة لله جميعا وأن الله شديد العذاب صدق الله العظيم. Respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, in continuation of ayat number 164 of Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us a few of His ayat, some of the signs within the universal domain and also pertaining to our world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us these signs لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ, so that these may be signs for our own intellect, our aql. Yes, just using logic and reason, we may not be able to find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But with these signs, if we really reflect, we may be reminded about the system of this universe, which would take a person to the fitrah, to their own nature. And the reality of nature is that we human beings, we will be led back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is also the maqsad and purpose of wahi, revelation, particularly this Quran, that it is a guide, a kind of navigation system, a map that will take a person to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The first sign, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to use our reason, use our logic, which is a very unique sign. إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Definitely in the creation of the heavens and the earth. There are a few particular elements that are required in the creation of anything. As insan, as human beings, we build, we manufacture, we invent. We do not create something per se. Creating will be making something from nothing. We don't have that power. And also to make something that is not there from nothing, really. To make the original product, if you take the actual term of khalq. So as human beings, we cannot really understand what takhliq or creation is, but from our experience, there are a few things that we do understand. Using just our intellect or pure aql, reason, there are a few things that we do understand. Whenever we want to build something, manufacture something, invent something, we never do it without a purpose. Anything that is manufactured, anything that is invented, anything that is built, it has to have a purpose. We never make something without a purpose. This is logical reason. Also, we don't increase production without a purpose. Otherwise, if a company is making or mass producing something that is not going to be used when there's no demand, so the company will take a loss. And also, if we invent something that is not needed and that will not be used, that does not have a purpose, so we'll be at loss. We'll be wasting our time. So human reason always comes to this point that whenever we invent something, we build something, we manufacture something, we make something, first and foremost, it has to have a purpose. The second thing is that whatever we invent, we build, we manufacture, we have to know how to do it, particularly the steps in making something. Otherwise, you can have a very, very great demand, a great need for something, but we don't know how to make it. We don't know what to make. Again, we're at loss. So as human beings, we have to know how to, you have to have the ilm, the knowledge, the know-how of knowing how to make it. If you don't know how to make it, so again, you're at loss. The third, you have to have the resources to make it. Again, comes down to personal, the power and capability to do it. That's part of the resources. If a person does not have the capability to do it, does not have the resources to make it, again, you're at loss. And also, once we make something, manufacture something, we build something, we also have to understand and make sure that it can fulfill its purpose. Otherwise, if it's not fulfilling its purpose, so then again, we go back to the drawing board. This is what all of these tests before a product is brought to the masses or it is brought to the people, to the consumer, a product is tested in various ways. So various testing goes on. If the product doesn't meet the required list of tests and does not pass those tests, so it's not mass produced in general. So these are just some of the elements related to manufacturing, inventing, and building something. When it comes to takhliq or creation, it's even more than that. In our logic and understanding, we understand this, that as far as takhliq is concerned, as far as this creation is concerned, as far as khalq is concerned, creation is concerned, again, the same rules would apply. First, you would have to have a purpose. Then you have to have the power to, if you have to know how to create, then you have to have the power to create, and then the resources, and all of that matters. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created this creation. And He created with a very great purpose. We understand our purpose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us our purpose. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have not created man and jinn except that they worship me. Meaning the worship and ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is our purpose. That has many different elements, different angles. And the ibadah, and the term of ibadah, is a very broad meaning. We don't need to know the purpose of the rest of creation. We need to know our purpose. If we know the purpose of the rest of creation, how will it benefit us in any way? So we know our purpose, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us our purpose in the Quran, in Revelation. So that's that much we know. That means that if our purpose, we know our purpose, that means that nothing is created without a purpose. Even in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes that statement, and that statement will be made on the Day of Judgment. أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ. Do you think you were created for no reason, for no purpose? Just you were created without any reason. You think you were created and you had no purpose, and you thought you were not going to return back to us to answer for your purpose. So it makes it very, very clear that if we have a purpose and we are created for a purpose, so the whole of creation is also created for a very, very great purpose. That is also one of the aspects of muraqabah or meditation, that we understand and we come to this conclusion and understand that everything has a purpose, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything with a very, very great purpose. And that is why one of the ad'iyah that is mentioned, one of the supplications mentioned in the Quran, in Surah Al Imran, related to tafakkur, related to contemplation and meditation. And towards the ending of Surah Al Imran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the ulul albab, the people who have the highest level of reasoning and intellect. إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب. Again, similar terms are repeated in those verses. In Surah Ali Imran, that in the creation of the heavens and the earth and the alteration of night and day, لآيات لأولي الألباب. There are many, many signs for ulul albab, the people of reason and intellect, very deep thought, people of lub, a very deep intellect. And what is the quality of the ulul albab? What are the qualities of the people of deep intellect? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala further tells us in the ayat of Surah Al-Imran, الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ. The ulul albab are those who remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا, standing and sitting, وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ, and when they're on their sides, meaning in every position, they remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, and they reflect on whatever is in the heavens and the earth. وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ, and they reflect on what? في خلق ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض, and they deeply contemplate in the creation of the heavens and the earth. And with that deep contemplation, so they'll reach this conclusion, and they'll make a very, very special dua. That dua is mentioned there in these ayat. رَبَّنَا, they make this dua, رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا. O our Rabb, O Allah, you have not created this uselessly. You have not created this in vain. You have not created this just to be wasted. Subhanak, O Allah, you are perfect and all glory belongs to you. And because you are perfect, so anything that you do also has its own perfection. فَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. And if that is the case, O Allah, then also save us from the fire of Jahannam. So that is the building of yaqeen, that if all of this is a reality, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything with a very great purpose. So then He has also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also created the fire of Jahannam with a purpose. So the least we can do is also ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save us from the fire of Jahannam. So this is the first point, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens and the earth with a very great purpose. The second point, and again that purpose is mentioned in certain hadith also, and some of the mufassirin have also gone into the detail of Sifah of Ar-Rahman. And this is also again going back to the tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha and also other ayat in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and again particularly in Surah Al-Fatiha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, all praises belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rabbul Alameen, the Rabb of all of the worlds, the creator, sustainer, the master, protector and cherisher of all of the worlds. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Rahman. So one of the tafsir of this also is that the purpose of the creation of the heavens and the earth is that all of this is a display of the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and particularly the sifah of Ar-Rahman. That being that has, again, when you understand the Arabic sigha of Ar-Rahman coming from Rahman, and Rahman being from the Bab of Fa'alan, where in Arabic shows the extreme form of anything. If you really want to express something to the most extreme form, you put it on Bab Fa'alan. So when you talk about Rahmah, love, compassion, benevolence, the bestowing of favors and showing your compassion, your generosity, so the most extreme form of that is Rahman. And when you take it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is Ar-Rahman. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He displayed this sifah, so the whole of the creation was created, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He bestowed His favors on this creation. So again, coming to this ayat number 163, we find the sifah of Ar-Rahman. وَإِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهُ وَاحِدٌ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ الرَّحْمَنُ الرَّحِيمُ. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, in the alteration of night and day. And all of these favors, this is a display of the sifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ar-Rahman. So this is the purpose, the display of the sifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and again the display of the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second is having the knowing how to create. And that's a very, very unique aspect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Alim. He knows everything. Alim al-Ghaybi wa shahada. He knows what is seen and what is unseen. And again, for us, our understanding and the understanding of creation, there is a system within creation of things we can see and things we cannot see. The whole of creation is like this. There are things some creation might be able to see, we cannot see. The other thing is we can see that creation cannot see. Some of the birds, they have such sight, they're able to see into the UV and ultraviolet rays, or the ultraviolet spectrum. They're able to see into light we cannot see. And that's just within the animal kingdom. How many other creatures are out there? There are other animals that can experience sound. They can see sound waves. Like the bats and others, they can see through sound. There are other creatures out there that can see that we cannot, in ways we cannot see. And there are things that we might be able to see, they cannot see. We have not been able to really test that far, but this is what we human beings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this understanding that we have things we can witness and experience and see and things we cannot see, but that is for the creation. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's no such thing as something unseen. He knows and He sees everything. So when He is Alim al-Ghaybi wa shahada, He knows what you witness and what you see, and He knows what you cannot see, what is hidden from you. So that is also in relation to the whole of creation. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows and He sees everything. So His ilm and His knowledge is such that He knows everything and every element of it. Nothing is hidden from His knowledge. Everything is coded, everything is documented. Everything is fixed, and that documentation is beyond amazing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran in Surah Al-An'am, وَعِنْدَهُ مَفَاتِحُ الْغَيْبِ لَا يَعْلَمُهَا إِلَّا هُوَ. With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the keys of the unseen. No one knows them but Him. وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows whatever is on land and whatever is on sea. Everything He knows. وَمَا تَسْقُطُ مِنْ وَرَقَةٍ إِلَّا يَعْلَمُهَا. Not a leaf falls from a tree or breaks off from a tree or a branch, إِلَّا يَعْلَمُهَا, but that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows about it. وَلَا حَبَّةٍ فِي ظُلُمَاتِ الْأَرْضِ. And there's not a grain in the darknesses of the earth that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows about it. وَلَا رَطُبٍ وَلَا يَابِسٍ. And nothing that is organic and alive, and nothing that may be withered away and dying. إِلَّا فِي كِتَابٍ مُبِينٍ. But that is perfectly recorded in a perfectly preserved record. Everything recorded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are things we don't know. When you put a seed in the earth, how much do we know what goes on under the ground? Now maybe with science we're able to somewhat find out how the seed splits and what happens there. We humans, we would never be able to understand these things or even see what's inside the earth. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He speaks about this as a normal phenomena. إِنَّ اللَّهَ فَالِقُ الْحَبِّ وَالنَّوَىٰ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that splits the grain and the seed for you. And from that split comes these trees and everything grows. And this is the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So everything He knows, everything He has created, He knows how to create and He knows what to create. And He has the power and resources to create. For us human beings, effort is required. For us just to invent something, a lot of time is required. We might be thinking what kind of effort, how much we have to sit down, contemplate and think and meditate and really think about what can I invent, what is needed. Whenever we want to resolve or solve problems, how much do we think about them? How much do we plan? Our projects, our hopes, how many things we plan every day. And then along with that plan, how far our plan goes, generally that's what we're able to conceive and perceive. And with that, we start working to achieve that. So that is human understanding. There's time involved in inventing something, planning, and then there are different levels of plans. What you have in your mind, now you have to sit down, discuss it, put it on paper. A system of bringing it into fruition. Even in this world, you have businesses that want to run. Somebody thought up of these ideas, came up with the idea, really thought of something and put together the idea. They have feasibility studies, and you have these things that are put into different plans, and all of the ins and outs are put together so that we may be able to understand the crux of what a person may be planning, what is possible, what's not possible, is it demand, is it not demand, and then how many resources are used just in the planning phase. This is before you even get to the product or the production phase or the building stage. How much resources, time, and you know, really the mind and money and things are put just into the planning phase. Then after that, you get into the part of putting it into production or putting it into fruition. If you want to build something, how long? It's a long process. Those who are familiar with how to build, so also there's those who build Masjid. There's a long process. Town hall meetings, and you have the architectural designs and the property, and things are then put in the long process. Sometimes that process takes months, sometimes it takes more than a year, or sometimes it takes more than that. All the ins and outs are put together, ideas formulated, the steps required, and you have phases, phase 1, phase 2, different phases. You're going through all of these things. But that is human system. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He wants to do something, He's al-mudabbir. يُدَبِّرُ الْأَمْرَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He regulates the affairs of the heavens and the earth. He's al-mudabbir, the master planner. He doesn't need to consult with anyone or make consultation with anything. He doesn't need the help of His creation in any way. يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ أَنْتُمُ الْفُقَرَاءُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ هُوَ الْغَنِيُّ الْحَمِيدُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is independent of His creation. When He wants to create, He creates. He's Al-Khaliq, He's Al-Khallaq, the perfect creator, the ultimate creator. When He creates something, creates it in amazing ways. الَّذِي أَحْسَنَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Sajda, Alif Lam Mim Sajda, الَّذِي أَحْسَنَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقَ. That being who brings to perfection everything that He creates. There's a system of perfection involved. وَبَدَأَ خَلْقَ الْإِنسَانِ مِنْ طِينٍ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started the creation of mankind with clay. Not a perfect system Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He created. Then to hold the whole system of the universe, this also requires how much we human beings, we have people complain about just able to sustain themselves. When you have a family living in the Western world, sometimes even one job is not enough to sustain the family. Multiple people are working, or a person is getting more than one job, they're not able to just sustain one family. Even then there are complaints. Again, there's a system of barakah, blessings involved. But along with that, the system of the family itself, not just the system of sustaining the family, but the tarbiyah, the upbringing, the children, the involvement in the community. There's so many things involved in a family. And that's just one family, one unit. The capacity of a human being. You go beyond that to the system of the cities and the states and the countries. See how much help one mayor has, how much help one governor has, how many people working under them, how much help one president has. At least in the past, they didn't fire them in a few days. Nowadays, subhanallah, it's become so quick. They hired and they fired. But they used to have systems of trust. How many systems are working just to uphold a country? And then countries, they're there. not a system of holding up just a society in a country or a state or a city. And what is clear is that as human beings, there are a few things that we human beings we have yet to resolve. There are certain matters, three major matters actually. There are three major matters that we human beings we have yet to resolve. We haven't really resolved them yet. That is why we need deen. We need this great need to have a religious code. Otherwise, you'll never resolve these issues. One, the issue of government and citizens. Who should have more power? Should the government have more power over the people, or should the people have power over the government? This has been an issue for the ages. No one has ever really resolved this. On one extreme, government controls everything. Citizens have no say in anything. The case of Fir'aun. Even now, you have Russia, slowly changing it, but there used to be a system of the USSR, Soviet Union. Citizens had no say in anything. Everything was owned and controlled by the government. Even now in China, in Russia, many of these countries, still system is very similar to that. Citizens have very, very, very few rights. They tell the citizens to do their work, their job, and go home, finish. They don't have any freedom to protest or to say anything. That's one extreme. On the other side, you have the other extreme, where the people are in control of government. Everything goes. And what the people want, that's what should happen. A system of the United States, a republic, the democratic republic system, and the democracy system that has been put in place, where the people, we the people, of the people, for the people, were supposed to be the people in control, and whatever the people as a majority agree to, so this should be done. And the problem with both, and again, the problem with this system of we the people, of the people, for the people, is that mankind will sometimes agree to something that makes no sense. And sometimes they'll agree to something that is completely against human nature. Look how many things are allowed in this system that we know are against even human system of the very human nature. But it is being accepted by the masses. So government is forced to pass laws to allow the masses to have some of these strange things that are going on. We don't even need to go into the details of this immodesty and immorality and all of these things that are going on. So again, this is something we humans have never been able to resolve. Who should have more power, the government or the citizen? There's always been a tussle. For that, we have the deen of Islam. It's a given perfect system of how much the government should have, how much the people should have, and what are the rights of both, where the government becomes a servant of the people. This is what is missing. In the 21st century, year 2020, where there's a pandemic going on, the citizens, many citizens have lost their homes, many citizens have lost their jobs. They don't have anything to survive with. And the government is debating and arguing whether to give the people money or not. Even the money that was given to the corporations, so they survived and they went on vacation. They took big, big paychecks, and the citizens are suffering. And even the same people that passed those laws, the senators and the Congress that passed those laws, they're not giving money to the citizens, but they are taking their own paychecks and how much money they're making. So they don't have any concern, that level of concern that is required. So in the deen of Islam, it has made the government the khadim of the people, the servant of the people. And if the government fails to serve the people, particularly the weak in the society, not serve the big, big, powerful people, no, the weak in the society, and who the government is representative of. And if the government fails to serve the weak in the society, they're questioned and put in check and can even be replaced. This has always been the system in the Islamic system. Another thing that we humans have never been able to resolve is the system of man and woman, the rights. What is the rights of a man? What is the rights of a woman, particularly in a marriage system? We humans, by just using our own system, our system of logic, we have not been able to resolve this issue. And how much rights the man should have, how much rights the woman should have. In some societies, men and women are full, complete 100% rights. And the women and the man have the same say in everything. And on the surface, it looks very good. But the problem is it destroys the family. You see the family system in the Western world, where this system is implemented, where they say equal rights. So there's no family system. And because of that, you need, in any system to survive in this world, you have to have one person in charge. Not that the person is better than others or the person is more capable, but one person should be in charge. Then a system will run. If you do not have one person in charge, you have multiple people, then there's always something wrong. If you have more than one president, no matter how foolish the president might be, you have more than one president, what happens? You'll have chaos. You have more than one governor, chaos. More than one mayor, chaos. More than one CEO of a company, it will fall apart with equal power. But that system is there, so we see that the family system, the family structure is almost finished. In the Western world, marriage becomes almost like a burden. On the other side, you have the system where more rights are given to the man than to the woman, and then oppression starts. The women are given almost no rights. That's the other extreme. The women are almost stripped of all rights. And in some of those systems, the women are treated even worse than animals. And you look at some of the system of the Hindu beliefs and the other systems in the world, and even in the past, when you go to the system of the Arab, how they used to treat their women. Where women had no rights at all, no say in anything. In fact, women were even inherited. They became part of inheritance. And as those systems are still there in the Hindu beliefs and some of the other religions in the world, women have no rights whatsoever. And the man is in charge, the man is everything. In some of those beliefs, if the husband, the man dies, they bury the woman with him. The women have no rights, no say in anything whatsoever. That's the other extreme. And we know in that extreme, women have no rights, so much zulm and oppression is done, but the women, they cannot say anything. Because in their belief, they believe they are nothing. So they do not even speak up. And even if they speak up, they're condemned and they're criticized, they have nowhere to go. So then there's the system of Islam. Men are given rights, women are given rights. People talk about equal rights. First, you have to analyze what is rights of man and what is rights of women in Islam. You'll realize that men are given some rights more than a woman, and then women are also given many rights above the man. And we talk about equal, the equal rights is those rights that benefit the man as far as rights that are needed for the benefit of the man. And then there are those rights that are beneficial for the women, so they also have their rights that are beneficial for them. Islam is presented the most beautiful system. But again, this has been a debate that's been there and is still there. So the system of governance has to also apply. You can make a whole system, but if you cannot govern it, then of what benefit? So that is a system that we as human beings, we understand that it's not just making something or building something or inventing something. You also have to understand how to run it, operate it, how to make it successful so that it continues on. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-mudabbir. He is the being that has organized everything, has created everything. And along with this creation of everything, He knows how to sustain His creation. He knows, and He also sustains His creation. Along with sustaining His creation, He also makes sure that His creation will continue on. He knows what is best for His creation. And that is why the laws and the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in place, this is the best system. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding, give all of us tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد عن أبي أمامة الباهلي رضي الله عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول اقرأوا القرآن فإنه يأتي يوم القيامة شفيعا لأصحابه اقرأوا زهراوين البقرة وسورة آل عمران فإنهما يأتيان يوم القيامة كأنهما غمامتان أو كأنهما غيايتان وكأنهما فرقان من طير صواف تحاجان عن أصحابهما اقرأوا سورة البقرة فإن أخذها بركة وتركها حسرة ولا يستطيعها البطلة وكما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام قال معاوية بلغني أن البطلة السحرة رواه Muslim. This hadith is in Sahih Muslim. Sayyidina Abu Umama al-Bahili radiyallahu anhu, he narrates that I heard Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying, read the Quran because the Quran will come on the Day of Judgment as an intercessor for its companion. Read the two shining ones, Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Al Imran, because they will come on the Day of Judgment like two clouds or two shades or two groups of birds, and they will intercede on behalf of those that used to recite them, or they'll intercede on behalf of their companions. اقرأوا سورة البقرة. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam now singles out Surah Al-Baqarah. He says, اقرأوا سورة البقرة, Surah Al-Baqarah. Read or recite Surah Al-Baqarah. فإن أخذها بركة, because holding on to Surah Al-Baqarah, barakah, it is full of blessings. Full of blessings. And barakah is something that we need in our life. Barakah has two meanings, something that grows and something that is stable. In actual sense, the Arab used to use this term, barak and bark, or the barakah, and the term, when you go back to the root term of this, one is the meaning of like a tree growing, something that is continuously growing. Okay, a young tree that was growing was called barakah, like something that was. And another meaning was like when a camel used to sit, and amongst the Arab in the desert, once a camel sits down, and the stubborn nature of a camel, you cannot raise it up, or it's very difficult to get it up. It's stable, that's it. That used to be called barak or mubarak, or like, yeah, different words, but the root term was very similar to this term of barakah. So barakah is something that is continuously growing, but also very stable. So if you take Surah Al-Baqarah and you want blessings in your life, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put blessings in the sense of growth in those things that will be of benefit to you and also give you stability in your life. So this is what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is telling us. And again, we translate, if you take both meanings, growth and stability, so if you take both of those meanings together, this is what blessings is. It's kind of like the essence of the word blessing. Again, English is not that deep. English is not that deep to give you the deep meaning of the word blessing, but this is kind of the meaning of what blessing is, something that will be growing, of benefit, and stable. So by reciting Surah Al-Baqarah, by taking it, holding it, memorizing it, reciting it, making a friendship with it, it'll become a means of barakah and blessings in our life. وَتَرْكَهَا حَسْرًا, leaving or giving up Surah Al-Baqarah, it'll become a means of grief. It'll become a means of hasra, grief and regret. And this is even in this world. Surah Al-Baqarah has so many blessings, so many benefits. Now once a person gets used to and understand those benefits, and they start reciting it and make that connection, and the blessings start in their life, once they stop, they'll see that in their life all of those blessings slowly start to disappear. And that can become a means of grief, and a person will become grieved. And again, also if somebody does have grief or has, anxious and things that make them regret and their feelings, this is also a sign that read Surah Al-Baqarah, get in the habit of reciting Surah Al-Baqarah, get in the habit of memorizing, try and memorize Surah Al-Baqarah, make this at least a point in your life. Memorize Surah Al-Baqarah, recite it, read it. You'll see the blessings and barakat in your life. وَلَا يَسْتَطِيعُهَا الْبَطَلَ. The al-batala, the wicked, those that are wicked, they're not able to exploit or use Surah Baqarah. قال المعاوية, Sayyidina Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, he narrates, بلغني, it has reached me, or it has been reported to me, أن البطل السحرة, that al-batala, the wicked ones, these are as-sahara, the sahirin, the magicians. So the magicians have a particular system of exploiting and using certain things. And particularly the system of use is they recite certain portions or recite something in a certain way, and it has a very destructive effect. And that is one of the purpose of the sahirin, these magicians. They have a very particular system of sihr when you get into understanding the system of the dark arts. So they have a particular system of using certain phrases and certain things that have a profound impact. They have a way of twisting that. But they have to use something that has an effect. This is one thing. A sahir cannot just out of the thin air make something happen. He has to use something that is already there. Then he can make it harmful. Inshallah, we'll get into the details of the sahirin and how they use some of the sihr. But Surah Al-Baqarah is one of those unique things that even a sahir cannot exploit. And we'll get into the understanding of that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and give us a tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ.